Welcome to Fun with Annuities, where every single week I welcome a celebrity guest expert that can help you maximize Chapter 2 of your life. Listen, learn, laugh, and love every minute of the most unique financial podcast on the planet. Let's get to it. Welcome to Fun with Annuities. I'm your host, Stan, the Annuity Man, America's annuity agent, licensed in all 50 states. Out there in the hinterlands, we can take care of you at the Annuity Man. Main office in Las Vegas, Nevada. Also have an office in Florida. Offices everywhere. We're just here to help and the pioneers into direct-to-consumer annuity sales. But, as you know, if you watch me, watch my videos or read my blogs or read my books, I'm an edutainer first. I educate everyone, entertain them at the same time. My Fun with Annuities podcast has been a blast over the last few years since we've done this. And, my PR people, they talk like this and they're like, we really need to have guests on, Stan. And I typically do 90% of the time have guests on. But when I'm talking about a specific topic, I try to bring in the number one expert in that topic. Now, that some of the time isn't me. Huh? What? But in this case, I needed to do a happy birthday QLAC. That's the topic. Happy birthday to QLACs, Qualified Longevity Annuity Contracts. So who's the number one expert in QLACs on the planet? It would be me. Thank you very much. Clap, clap, clap for Stan, the Annuity Man. And the reason I am that person is I was around in 2014 when Qualified Longevity Annuity Contracts were first introduced by the IRS. Yes, those are our friends, nod your head. And the Department of the Treasury, who came out with a QLAC, which is a tap on the shoulder nicely by our government to say, hey, excuse me. Yeah, that Social Security payment, that's not supposed to be the only lifetime income stream that you have. So why don't we're going to allow you, because we're so nice, to use your qualified assets, traditional IRA type assets, to purchase a lifetime income stream, which are QLACs. Now, I contemplated early, should I sing happy birthday to QLACs now, or should I sing happy birthday to QLACs at the end? I'm not sure if that's a tease to keep you. I think if you heard two things, if I sang it now, which I might, you might do, okay, that's it. Click and you're out of here. But you might be anticipating the voice, the velvety smooth voice of Stan the Annuity Man singing happy birthday to QLACs. You might just hang in there for that, right? So you know what? Just because of that, and Tony Bennett, who I love, Tony Bennett, who passed away recently, had that smooth voice singing. He could sing a really good maybe I'll do my Tony Bennett version of Happy Birthday to QLACs. But I think it was 2014, so 9 years ago, at the time of this taping, check the date, player. At the time of this taping, 9 years ago-ish, QLACs were introduced to the world. And at that time, I was excited because I love simple products. I love pro-consumer products. I love products that work. I love products that are contractual. I love products and strategies that only focus on the will do, and there aren't any might do's. Unicorns chasing the butterfly. Mr. Jones, if you'd owned 10 years ago, you'd got market returns. No, QLACs are straight transfer of risk products. Now, Social Security was never put on the planet to be the sole source of income for adults. It just never was. But for the vast majority out there, it is. Now, if you're watching this podcast, you're probably trying to figure out what a QLAC is, or you're celebrating with me the 9-year-old birthday of QLACs. Now, when QLACs first came out, I literally was so excited. I was in Chicago at the time. I stayed an extra couple of days and started my first owner's manual on QLACs at that time. Now, of course, I have 6 additional owner's manuals, and I have a book called The Annuity Stanifesto, and all those you can get at my site at theannuityman.com. But I really thought at that time that, and I still believe this, that QLACs will eventually be the number one annuity type sold, period, to all people. Now, I predicted that it would be in a couple years. Now, what I forgot is I'm one of the few agents out here that doesn't look at any type of commissions, built-in commissions. I just look at what's the best solution for you. So because of that, I'm thinking, hey, QLACs are a great solution. Most people, most of their money's in traditional IRA type form. You know, you have the 401ks, the defined contribution plan. Not many companies do defined benefit plans, which are pensions and give you the gold watch and the payment for life. That doesn't happen a lot anymore. In fact, less than 9% of the companies out there, private companies, do that anymore. Now, if you work for the government, a good trade union or whatever, labor union, you might have a pension in place, but most people do not. So, you know, annuities as a category, and there's multiple types of annuities, it's the only category that a vast majority of the product types provide lifetime income as long as you're breathing and or on a ventilator. So as long as you're breathing and on the planet, it's going to pay. Now, qualified longevity annuity contracts, getting back to my original dream and prediction that it would be the highest selling annuity type on the planet, it really should be. And in a perfect world where Stan, the annuity man, is the annuity czar, which means that, has no Russian connotations, it means that I run the whole annuity show. I oversee everything. Carriers have to come to me. Agents have to bow down. And oh, by the way, and guess what? All annuity types have the same low commission level. All. So you want to flush the toilet, as they say, for good, and get rid of the nonsense, bad chicken dinner seminar crap sales pitches. Have all annuity types, and I'm talking about SPIAs, DIAs, QLACs, index annuities, variable annuities, MIGAs, whatever. All of them have the same low commission. What if all of them had the same built-in low commission of 1 or 2%? What if? What if I had six-pack abs? What if I could run a marathon? What if I could climb Mount Everest, in shorts? It's not going to happen. The annuity types all having the same commission, but if it did, QLACs would be the number one seller. Why? Good question. I'm so glad you asked that. I can't believe you just interrupt me to ask that. But the reason you did is wait a minute, Stan. Why would QLACs be so popular? Well, it's numbers. It's straight demographics. With 11,000 people turning age 65 every single day at the time of this taping, it's probably, by the time you're watching this, it's probably 12,000. There's a lot of people out there that are looking for guaranteed lifetime income, guarantees in general, but they need more income in addition to that Social Security payment that they're getting. Well, because most people and most of their assets are in IRA qualified type plans, 401ks, you can roll that into an IRA, etc. IRAs, you're going to have to take part of that IRA and convert it into a lifetime income stream. Or if you don't want to do that, regardless of whether you want an income stream from your IRA or not, at the time of this taping, age 73, the IRS taps you on the shoulder and says, oh, by the way, 3 letters, RMD. And you go, what's the RMD? I don't know what RMD is. Is it RPM? No, sir, RMD. And RMD is required minimum distribution. And what that is the IRS tapping you nicely on the shoulder. Not like this, no, they're like this. Hey, we're the IRS, and you've been deferring taxes all this time. These RMDs, you're going to have to start taking them at the time of this taping, age 73. And you're going to have to take the money out regardless of whether you want to or not. Now, some people argue with me. I call that a forced annuity because it really is. They're forcing you to take payments on an annual basis, which leads us back to QLACs. QLACs have something to do with the RMDs. QLACs, at the time of this taping, and I'm sure it's going to change because our Congress keeps raising the limit to try to attract you to buy one. At the time of this taping, you can put in $200,000 per person. So if you, I'm talking to the males out there, okay, or the females, I'm talking to you. If you have an IRA, you can put $200,000 in it. If your spouse has an IRA, they can put $200,000 in a QLAC, okay? Now, why would you do that? Good question. QLACs allow you to defer income starting at a future date. Now, the IRS rules currently in place say that you can defer as far out as age 85. You don't have to go as far out as age 85. A lot of people go, I'd never buy a QLAC because I don't want to defer that far out to age 85. And I can talk, by the way, I can talk Southern because I'm from North Carolina and know how to do that. So don't get mad. No letters and emails, please. Okay. So, but you can start it sooner than that. But once again, IRS loves to tap you on the shoulder. So if you buy QLAC by age 85, tap, 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 you got to take income from it at that point in time. So a lot of people use it for reasons like to hedge future inflation. Please don't let inflation live in your head for free, live in your brain for free. Nobody knows what's going to happen with that. But this is a way to combat it because you're going to get more money coming in. Okay. But there's really, in my opinion, there's 3 reasons that you need to consider buying a QLAC. Okay. And I'm going to talk about the limitations in a minute as well. The first reason is future income. Like I just said, you can put in $200,000 at the time of this taping, and you can defer out as age 85, or you could ladder, you could take half and start it at age 78 and the other half start at age 85. Those are things that we need to talk about. Go to my site at theannuityman.com, schedule a call, you might get me. So the first way is, hey, future income. The second reason you would consider it would be, my spouse has put up with me all this time and put up with my craziness and my eccentricities. And you can add that spouse for joint lifetime income, meaning that when you die and your wife cries for at least a day or two, then they're going to get that lifetime income stream from your IRA. Hello, legacy, anyone? Legacy, legacy. And your spouse deserves it. And I'm talking not only the males that's treated their wives like crap, I'm talking about the wives out there that's treated your males like crap, your husbands like crap. You know who you are. Stop hiding. So, once again, 2 reasons. First reason, lifetime future income starting at a future date, lifetime income, as long as you're breathing and on a ventilator. That's a ventilator. It's still paying. Okay, because the ventilator's on. As long as you're breathing, it's still paying. The third reason that you would buy a QLAC, the third reason, not the first, the third, is that $200,000 is not included in your required minimum distributions, aka RMD calculations. Give you an example. Let's just say you have a $500,000 IRA and you bought a $200,000 QLAC. And 73, and that $200,000 QLAC is going to, me and you had the discussion, it's going to start at age 80, and you're now 73, and you got to take required minimum distributions. Okay? So you have a $500,000 IRA, you bought a $200,000 QLAC. When you go to calculate your required minimum distributions, you're only going to be paying RMDs on $300,000, not the $500,000, because the $200,000 QLAC is not included in those calculations. How about that? A legal way, legal, L-E-G-A-L, for some politicians out there that don't know how to spell that, legal way to lower your taxes or tax liability on those IRA assets and the RMDs that you have to take. And what are the RMDs? It's a forced annuity. I'm glad you remembered that because I pointed that out earlier, and there will be a test later. So once again, let's do them in order. The 3 reasons to buy or consider buying a QLAC, Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract. Number 1, future income to combat inflation, and so you can spend more money and live life to its fullest in Chapter 2 of your life. Number 2, you can add your spouse as a joint annuitant, meaning they're going to get paid as long as one of you is breathing, and you deserve to add them to that because they've been putting up with your rear end, both male and female out there, forever. You owe them that. And then the third reason is the tax savings, because that amount that you put into a QLAC right now at the time of this taping, $200,000, is not included in your RMD's required minimum distribution calculation. Now, here's the part why I pause, I take a breath, I reflect upon life and how good it is, and then I peel back right to you and I look you straight in the eye and I go, here's the reason you don't buy a QLAC. Do not call me and say, I'm going to buy QLAC for the tax savings. Bang! Wrong. I'm not going to let you do that. Do not let anyone do that. I can't imagine you buying a QLAC from anyone else but me anyway. But let's just say your brother-in-law's in the business. He's like, hey, Jimmy, buy a QLAC from me. I need the car payment. I mean, if you're going to do that, don't buy it for the tax savings, that $200,000 that you're not using to include in the RMD calculations, that cannot be the first reason you buy a QLAC. Once again, first reason, future income. Second reason, joint The spouse can be added as a joint annuitant. Annuitant means payout person. So if you die, they get the income continue uninterrupted and unchanged. But the third reason, in order ranked, are the tax savings. Are we clear? As they said in A Few Good Men, crystal clear, crystal. Now, let's talk about kind of the history of these QLACs for a second. Probably should have done this first, but when I get in front of the camera, it is a whirlwind. It's like handing the mic to, who's your favorite, to Elvis Presley or someone like that. I mean, it's just magic. I just go. It's a free form of mental acuity flowing into the education and into your brain so that you can fully understand. Now, for the people that's listening to me on all podcast platforms, I had some really good hand gestures there. Just imagine the happy hands choir. It's kind of like that. But when QLACs first came out, of course, the government didn't make it simple, even though they'd call me and say, Dan, what do you think? What do you think? How do you think we should structure it? I say, simple. So simple that a 9-year-old could understand it, that I could explain it to a group of second graders. No offense to second graders or 9-year-olds. But did they listen to me? No, they didn't. So when it first came out, it's $125,000. But the way that's the max, but you take 25% of your total IRA assets and you take the lesser of the two. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. And they love that. The government loves that. They have to be fancy and crazy and complicated. So then we hear you, Stan, but what we're going to do is we're going to raise it. So it went from 125, then it went to 135, and then when it went to 145,000 per person. Okay. Well, that has an IRA, but they still had that crazy 25% of your total IRA assets. And then you take it's crazy. The lesser of the two, blah. So we had to go through all these gyrations. Finally, they listened to reason, listened to the simplistic nature of the Stan the Annuity Man vibe that's taking this country by storm when it comes to annuities, and it's just $200,000. So if you have $201,000 in your IRA, you can put $200,000 into QLAC, and the IRS is checking that box. They're good. They should have started there, of course. But, here's the thing. When we're dealing with the government, we have to be happy we have to be happy. No, we should be content that they came to the conclusion that they should have come to earlier. Instead, sometimes the government never gets to the simple conclusion. They just continue to keep it crazy and complicated. But in this case, they made it very simple. 200,000. No percentages, no adding up, just 200,000. If you have 200,000 in qualified accounts, you can buy a QLAC. You don't have to put that much money in, or you could take a portion and you could ladder it. You could say, okay, I'm going to take a third of it and have income start at 77, and a third have an income start at age 80, and a third have income start at age 85. Now, a lot of you are hanging in there with me because you want to hear me sing later, and I understand that, and I don't blame you for that because I do have a very good voice. Okay, but let's talk about the downside of QLACs. The downside of QLACs, because yes, all annuity types have downsides. I know you're like, no way. I went to this bad chicken dinner, expensive steak dinner seminar, and everything that agent told me about annuities sounded great. Don't get me started. That's the reason I wear hats. People always say, why do you wear hats? Well, number one, I like hats, baseball caps. For people on the podcast wearing a light blue, Carolina blue baseball cap. But it's now because my hair is getting grayer because I hear these crazy sales pitches. The downside of a QLAC, it's an irrevocable contract, not revocable, irrevocable. You're locked in. You're going to get your payments back, but there's no liquidity features. Okay, you can't call me up 2 years later and go, you know what, thing? I bought that QLAC from you, but my brother is selling his boat, his Bassmaster boat, and I want to buy it with the QLAC money. You can't. You can't do that, even though I love bass and fishing for bass. Used to do that with my dad a long time ago, but that's a whole nother story. But you do those kind of things in the South. You fish for largemouth and smallmouth bass, but typically Southerners like to fish for largemouth bass. Yes, there will be a test later in the podcast. But the contract, QLAC, is irrevocable. The other limitation is there's no trackable interest rate. Now, let's stop and pause here for just a second so I can clarify something. If you're one of those people out there, or as they say in the commercial, don't be a jackwagon. I like wagon instead of the other word. Don't be a jackwagon. If you're one of those jackwagons out there that says, I'll never buy a QLAC because if I die, the annuity company keeps the money, and that's just not fair. Now, can you structure it like that, life only, which would be the highest payment? Yes, you can. But the vast majority of people who buy QLACs from moi, that's French for Stan the Annuity Man, structure it life with cash refund, which means that the annuity company is on the hook to pay you, contractually obligated, as long as you're breathing or on a ventilator. But when you die, when your Learjet hits the mountain, when your bass boat flips and you drown, 100% of any used money goes to the beneficiary, and the evil annuity company doesn't keep a penny, even though they're on the hook to pay. I'm going to say it again because I need you to understand. QLAC, life with cash refund, means that they're going to pay you for life. If it's joint life with cash refund, they're going to pay one of you as long as one of you is breathing for life. But when the second spouse dies in joint life, or if it's single life, if you die, 100% of any unused money goes to the listed beneficiary of the policy, and the evil annuity company doesn't keep a penny under any circumstance. And if you live to 190 or 290, they're going to pay you. That's the transfer of risk nature of buying a lifetime income annuity. Love when people go, what's the return on investment on that? What's the ROI, son? There's no ROI until you die, Chester. It's a transfer of risk. Do you run ROI numbers on Social Security? No, you don't. You know what by the way, that's an annuity. It's the best inflation annuity on the planet. You just get the payments. But for whatever reason, when people go out into the marketplace at theannuityman.com and they start looking at lifetime income payments, they start comparing it to an investment. It's not an investment. Okay? It's a contract. You're buying a contract. Annuities, you don't believe it? You're going to get a policy. You're going to get a contractual guarantee, period. So getting back to the limitation, there's no trackable interest rate. So let me give you an example. You put $200,000 in, you want to turn on the income stream at age 81, and you die at 76. How much will your beneficiaries get? $200,000. There's no trackable interest rate. Now, let me caveat that. The longer you allow an annuity company to hold on to the QLAC money, the more they're going to enhance. In the South, that means increase your payment, your guaranteed payments. So let me put it another way, Southern version. The longer you let it cook, the more you get. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody out there? Nod your head. It does make sense. So, going back to the limitations, there's no trackable interest rates. It's irrevocable. There's no market attachments. So because of those three limitations, which in my opinion aren't limitations if you understand them, you're buying a contractual guarantee, you're buying a pension, you're buying another Social Security payment, if you want to break it down, Chester, for the fact that you know that those three limitations exist, then you also know that it's not an investment, it's a contract. Now, which leads me to the pundits and the experts and the advisors and the masters of the universe that come out there and go, no, I've run the number in the Monte Carlo simulations comparing investments to the QLACs, and QLACs don't hold up. You are an idiot, whoever is writing that. In fact, I just had a really smart guy on my podcast recently, really smart guy, like a professor. And then like 2 weeks later, he writes one of the dumbest articles of all time about how QLACs don't measure up, they said in the Midwest, measure up to investments. Give me a break. How about apples and oranges, anybody? You can't look at that. It's a guaranteed lifetime income payment. What's that got to do with stocks or mutual funds? Listen, if you want to be a market maven, don't buy an annuity of any type. They're contracts. But the positives are there. Future income. You can add a spouse for joint lifetime income, and you can save some on taxes, potentially with the RMD savings. But the limitations, no market attachments, which I think is a good thing. no trackable growth, and it's irrevocable. But understand that you don't have to leave any money on the table. You can structure it life with cash refund or joint life with cash refund, meaning that the annuity company won't keep a penny. Understand that QLAC payments are a combination of return of principal plus interest, just like all annuitized products, single premium immediate annuities and deferred income annuities, and QLACs are the annuitized products, meaning you rip the knob off the water faucet and the income's coming. All three of them have pretty much the same structure. No moving parts, no market attachments, no annual fees, pro-consumer, low built-in commission, good for the public. Good for the public. So the people that will never buy an annuity because all the fees are high. Dumb. Stop talking. You're making everyone around you's IQ go lower. You don't know what you're talking about. With QLAC, SPIAs, and DIAs, there's no annual fees. There's no market attachment. It's a straight transfer of risk. You're saying to the issuing QLAC company, here's the money, and you are on the hook to pay me or me and my wife or me and my husband forever as long as one of us is breathing, but you don't get to keep a penny. Now, I don't know if that's a good deal, and you don't know if that's a good deal unless you know when you're going to die or when your spouse is going to die or when both of you are going to die in the Learjet crash. Hopefully, you're leasing it like at a NetJets instead of buying it, which seems crazy unless you have hundreds of millions of dollars. But I want to say happy birthday to QLACs. Happy birthday to QLACs. It is a great product. I would encourage you to go to my site. I've written a QLAC owner's manual that you can, I don't know what they do on my site, download, I don't know what the hell is, the PDF, ODF, all my tech people, they know all this stuff. But in other words, you can get it and you can read it and you have to pay for it. You get it for free, okay? We used to send them out hard copy and then like at 25,000 copies, I'm like, that's costing a lot of money. Can we just put it on the site? So you can go to the site, you can run quotes, you can read the QLAC owner's manual, you can read the articles I've written on QLACs. And oh, by the way, spoiler alert, I've done a lot of QLAC videos, digging in and digging down and getting dirty and getting muddy. As Denzel Washington said, if you pray for the rain, you got to deal with the mud. Follow me? Think about that. I like that. It was in a movie. He said, he looked at the guy and he goes, you know what? You know what? If you pray for rain, you're going to have to deal with the mud. I like that. I don't know what that has to do with QLACs, but I love that saying. I need to write a song about that, like a rock song, like a metal song. Pray for rain, deal with the mud. You know what? It might be time. It might be time to sing happy birthday to QLAC. It really might. And I'm going to sing it sultry. I'm going to sing it like Marilyn Monroe sang it to John F. Kennedy. Remember that? Of course, they weren't dating and they weren't close. They were just friends. I mean, John F. Kennedy was married. But I'm probably going to sing it like that. Okay. But let's do a little primer so I can get warmed up and get in a mood to sing this. But QLACs, happy birthday to QLACs. Introduced in 2014. Happy 9-year-old birthday at the time of this taping. I think it's one of the best pro-consumer products on the planet. But I will tell you that if you call me at age 50, I'm going to tell you not to buy one. If you call me in your early 60s, I'm going to say, you sure you want to buy one? Because it's irrevocable. Do we really want to have something irrevocable that long? But when you're in your like mid 60s, in my opinion, let's start looking. Let's start planning for chapter 2 of our lives. Let's start putting that income floor in place, this being a part of it for future income needs. It makes sense. I do turn people down sometimes when they're like 52 years old, want to buy a QLAC. I'm like, you want to have a product that's irrevocable and we're going to start the income 20 years from now. You know, if you put a loaded gun to my head and I think you're crazy enough to pull it, I still might say no. Because listen, we sell more annuities than anyone on the planet at theannuityman.com, licensed in all 50 states. That means across the country. But we don't sell it just to sell it. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't have to buy any more clothes. I just wear sweats and baseball caps and T-shirts with my logo all over it. We're good. I eat barbecue sandwiches and banana pudding. You know, I like that. Nothing's going to change. I don't care how much more money I get. I don't drive fancy cars because I can't fix them. I could barely find the push button. I like the old keys, but the push button to even start them anymore. Life is good. I want your life to be good. I want chapter 2 of your life to be good. So QLACs, you need to look at them. If you're in your mid-60s or older, you need to look at them. If you've already started taking required minimum distributions, you can still buy a qualified longevity annuity contract. If you're past age 73 at the time of this taping, which is the time RMDs have to start, you can still buy a QLAC. If you're 80, you can still buy a QLAC. We have to have those conversations to see if it is suitable and appropriate and in your best interest to do that. And we will do that. So, go to my site at theannuityman.com, schedule a call. There is a possibility you get me. Back in the day, everybody got me. Back in the day before we grew this massive thing, this massive company that I still own 100%, by the way. But I have great employees. But I would say 3 to 5 times a day, I'll have a call that's scheduled for me in between my meetings and the stuff that I do. And people are like, is this really Stan? It sounds like Stan. Is this Stan? I'm like, yeah, it is. You might have won the lottery or lost it. I'm not sure. Well, I guess we'll find out after the call. But so yes, you might get me. How about that? So with that, qualified longevity annuity contracts, you can get all, I'm telling you, I've done so many videos. If you're on the YouTube site, go to my Stan the Annuity Man YouTube site, and under, I think there's this videos there, and they have different categories. My PR team has put all the QLAC videos I've done. If you go to my site in the search bar, we have a site you can search QLAC. If you just punch in QLAC under that little hourglass thing, everything QLAC is going to pop up. And in addition to that, you can download the book, QLAC Owner's Manual, and you can run quotes with all carriers to your heart's content. So we're here. This is the time. So here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3. Happy birthday to the QLAC. Happy birthday to the QLAC. The QLAC has your income back. That means happy birthday to the Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract. Wasn't that special? Happy birthday, QLAC. Thanks for joining me on Fun with Annuities. We'll see you next time.